With claims of paying as high as $700 an hour, of course I had to try out Respondent.io. I'll cover my journey from first-time user to checking to see if Respondent is even a real, legitimate company to, of course, making money. I'll go over all the steps I took, my personal experience, and of course how much I made on the platform after only 1 month. But before I get into all of that, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel where I talk about money, business, and of course side hustles. So let's start with what exactly Respondent.io is. On the business side, it's a way to get a deeper understanding of your target audience. You can conduct user interviews, you can do exploratory research, business research, product research, all sorts of things if you want to learn about who your customers are, what they like, and what kind of features and things like that you can add to your product. Now on the participant side, as you can see here, they say it is the best place to leverage your professional expertise for paid research interviews. In other words, these companies are going to pay you for your time to ask you questions about their product or service, or just general questions to try to learn about what they might build something for. Now don't let the words professional expertise scare you away. They have a lot of cool projects on here. Some simply ask you, have you been grocery shopping in the last week, or have you bought deodorant in the last month, or have you bought a new sweatshirt? Like, there's a lot of things that are very consumer driven. Not all of these are going to be based on your professional background. Sometimes they just want to talk to a real life human who really uses products like theirs or similar products that they just want to talk to and see what your thoughts are. So you can see right on their website, they break down the average hourly pay, and it ranges anywhere from $100 all the way through $700 per hour. Now as you scroll through projects, you'll see that sometimes they break them down into half-hour increments. So if it's $100 an hour, they'll say, hey, we'll pay you $50 for 30 minutes. Or some of them break it down so far to go by the minute, and you'll see 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and they'll pay you X amount per minute. Now the company itself as an organization hasn't been around all that long for me to get some deep insights. However, after doing some digging around, I did discover that these guys are a seed stage tech startup who raised $4.5 million back in 2018. So real quick sidebar, a seed stage round of funding is usually the first equity-based round of funding into a new company. Generally, it's led by what's called an angel investor or a venture capitalist, and it's usually the most risky part of any investment because it's so new, and that's why it's the seed stage, it's the growing stage. So these investors generally get better terms and more equity because they're taking a lot more risk betting on the company's success. So it was at this point I felt comfortable enough to create an account and dive right in. I assumed professional background played into this, so I use my LinkedIn as the quickest way to get my background to the platform. So once you sign up and log in, this is the screen you'll end up on. Of course, up here in the top left corner, you can see it says 10 screeners left. What they do is they limit you to 10 screeners in a 24-hour period, and a screener refers to any one of these postings of projects that are open. Now you want to make sure you use your resources wisely and only select the ones that apply to you, and don't try to go in here and apply for the ones that are asking for a doctor when you're not a doctor. As you can see from scrolling through here, there are some that are as high as $700 as they claim, and some as low as $10. And of course you can vet them for yourself if they're worth your time or not. You can see there's all kind of different projects. Local small and medium business owners, owner of a manager of oxygen equipment business, oddly specific, or restaurant owners. So there's all kinds of different options available to you, and they change and refresh daily. Right now you can see there's about 226 projects, so more than enough to sift through, and I'm sure there's some that'll match your particular skill set. So after my first day of filling out questionnaires, I did end up landing my first project, and it was actually a survey that took me 10 minutes and paid out $40. Not too bad for 10 minutes. So another really quick sidebar for those of you who are a skeptic as to why a company is willing to pay you up to $700 an hour just to hear you talk. I get it too, trust me. The really short answer is that it's much cheaper to ask you if you'll use something than to build something and find out nobody actually wants it. Let's take this example. Here you can see Ryan's company has this really cool product, and they have this really cool feature they want to roll out. After doing some research, they saw that it's going to cost about $50,000 and about 3 months worth of time to build. So they say, okay, let's do it. And they build this really cool feature, spend the money, spend the time, and then comes launch day, not one person uses it. Clearly, they wasted $50,000 and 3 months of time just to learn that their customers didn't even want the product they were building. Now let's use company 2 as an example. They have a cool product with a cool feature. So before they even start that process that they know is going to cost a lot of money and a lot of time, they come over to a site like Respondent and they go ahead and spend $5,000 talking to their actual customers and asking them if this is something they even want. Now, after all their interviews, if they learn that their customers don't even want it, now they just saved $95,000 plus all the time it would take to build something like this. So that is why they're more than willing to pay you these what seem to be high hourly rates, because in return they save a lot more. And if you remember my last video I did on user testing, this is slightly different than that. On user testing, you were given a product or a web page and you were told to critique it. Here, it's not usually the case. Usually it's somebody asking you questions. They're trying to build out a product or a new feature, or they want to get to know their customers better. It's more of a one-on-one kind of thing. They're asking very specific questions and they want to engage with you and learn, not just get feedback and critique. So I continued taking screeners day in, day out. Sometimes I used my 10, sometimes I didn't, some days I didn't log in at all. And at the end of the month, I ended up getting 6 total projects. All of them varied in time. My longest one was 1 hour. Almost all of them, except for one, were one-on-one interviews or interviews with a team of developers or researchers. And when it's all said and done, I ended up bringing in $370. All in, this entire month, I put 3 hours into Respondent.io. 3 hours. And in 3 hours, I made $370. I will say, after every transaction, Respondent does take a 5% fee. Even after that, it still works out to be a great way to make some spare cash every month. Now, overall, I actually loved my experience here, and I did meet some really cool people via the Zooms, surprisingly. So I would recommend anybody to try it out if you're willing to just give your opinion. So of course, if you found this video at all helpful, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Also, you can now subscribe to my weekly newsletter where it's packed full of insights, value, and ways to grow your wealth and business. The link is in the description below. And I will see you guys next time.